The Mesa Chamber of Commerce Inside Business Podcast brings you a unique view of Mesa through its vibrant business community and the subjects that are important. The podcast is produced in the Mesa Chamber of Commerce Media Studio, sponsored by the University of Phoenix. Our podcast is hosted by Mesa Chamber of Commerce CEO Sally Harrison. Please enjoy this episode of the Mesa Chamber Inside Business Podcast.
Well, hello and welcome to the Inside Business Podcast here at the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. I am not Sally Harrison. I'm Bob. And Sally's here with me. Hi, Sally.
Hi. Hello, Bob.
Are you all right? Did I startle you?
Well, no. I should have expected that intro.
You probably should have.
Yes.
Joining us today on the Inside Business Podcast is one of our favorite people.
Yes.
I'm excited by this. This is going to be a good podcast.
This is good.
I'm excited.
We've been waiting for Diane to come visit.
I know. So Diane Meza, who is the head of MITI, and I'll let her go into
Which
what
is a
MITI
really
is, right?
good title for her.
It's cool, right?
Yeah.
Like,
It's a fitting title. Yeah.
So is here to talk to us about all kinds of stuff, like Technopreneur, Green Flag, App Boutique. I mean, we're just going to go town.
We have a great partnership with Mesa Community College.
Oh my gosh, this is so much fun.
Lots
so
of good
Diane,
stuff
welcome.
going on.
Thank you. And
It's like a minute before she actually gets to say her first word.
right back at you. I just, you're my favorite people as well. And I want to thank you for having me today. Good morning.
And there you go.
So let's just kind of do a quick pre-today sort of thing. So Green Flag, we've had this program with Green Flag now for 3 years.
Yeah, since we moved in,
Right.
basically.
And we've done a lot of good.
Yes.
We've got a lot of good coming up.
Yes. How many businesses do we have now working out of Green
8.
Flag?
We have 8 working on a Green Flag right now.
8 startup businesses that are still engaged with Mesa Community College. Don't have their own storefronts. That's
Right.
why they're working out of our office.
We've got a launch coming up. We've got one of them doing a launch on July 1st.
Yeah, I've got it on my calendar. That's going to be fun.
Moz Metal Works. Look it up online.
Yes.
It's so much fun.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
very cool.
I've actually got an extra painting that we can give
Oh,
to our guests.
there you go. All right.
Yes. So
Sounds
Diane,
cool.
you get an
Thank
in-studio
you.
gift
Oh my
today.
goodness. I came on the right day.
Woo! Yes, it's your lucky day.
Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about that, kind of how that, because I think that plays into the real discussion that we're going to have about MITI's engagement and involvement. So talk to us about what you know about kind of Green Flag and that kind of stuff.
Well, I know that it's the Entrepreneurial Center, and I know that students can attend the Green Flag at very minimal cost and get great resources to kick off their business, as well as faculty mentorship with their business. But I know how it ties into the Technopreneur program even better, because that's the piece that, as we convened businesses over the last 2 years, that was the piece that with our technology students that they felt could be missing to create fantastic candidates to go into the workforce, taking the entrepreneurial side and the technology side and putting it together. So that's where the Maricopa IT Institute East Valley comes in.
So tell us, let's start with MITI, right?
Sure.
What is MITI?
What is MITI, and how did Diane get to be
MITI.
in charge of MITI?
So MITI is short for, and this is, you'll see why we abbreviated it, the Maricopa IT Institute East Valley. That is that's a long, long title. So we call ourselves MITI-EV. And that's a lot shorter. And I like MITI because, we're kind of coming in to make some changes. We're you could say we're a disruptor a little bit, but at the same time, we're hoping to really provide short-term training in response to IT industry, and we're trying to work within our college parameters, yet be nimble and quick and work a little bit outside of the college parameters. So we're trying to pioneer, I use the word pioneer, the systems we have, and then be a test kitchen for new systems in response to industry. So
That's exciting.
it is exciting, and we're excited that we are serving 4 colleges. So we're hosted by Mesa Community College. They are our gracious host, and they are helping us, with location and our positions and things like that. But we serve all 4 colleges in the East Valley. So we're serving IT needs with Rio Salado Community College, Scottsdale, and Chandler Gilbert Community Colleges, as well as Mesa Community College. So there's a true regional collaboration there.
That's awesome.
And so whatever we grow or create with MITI, we are sharing or we're doing like I said, the pilot, and then we're saying, okay, where in these colleges would you want it? Where does it fit? And then we're also being receptive to colleges asking us for, hey, we have this program we'd really like to pilot. How can you help? So it's, that reciprocation.
That's great. That's exciting.
You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So let's zero in a little bit in regards to kind of how, because we're going to talk a lot about Technopreneur. We're going to talk a lot about that. But let's zero in on some of that pre-work that kind of happened in terms of, there's a partnership with a certain entity that created an opportunity that we thought we wanted to take advantage of. So talk a little bit about that.
Right. Well, like I said, when we brought businesses together, we asked them what they needed. And so we got all kinds of ideas. And what they really said they needed were people with those soft skill, workforce skill, just those skills to come in, that they almost felt like our technology companies could teach people the technology side, but they couldn't teach the workforce skill side. So that was something that came out first. How are we really going to help our technology students with the workforce skills so they can become candidates for employment? Then as we started talking to more corporate partners, it almost went into these buckets. And the first bucket was they understand technology. The second bucket was they have workforce skills. And the third bucket was they need to be innovative. They need to have that entrepreneurial, innovative mindset. So as we were really working with teams on this, we worked for quite a while trying to come up with what would be a program that did all three of these things or helped our students in these three areas. We brought it to our very talented Mesa faculty, and I will say MCC's faculty is amazing, and they've been just working with students for so many years. They're constantly, I think people don't understand that sometimes when you're a technology faculty person, you don't just learn something and then teach that for the next 10, 20 years. You have to keep upskilling and recertifying and staying very current on things. And so I believe our faculty members, do that. They have to do it, but they want to do it. And they like to be innovative as well. So when I brought this challenge, I said, how do we come up with this program that, fires on all these cylinders for our students? And, to me, it seems so foreign. To them, they were like, oh, no, we already do something similar to this. We just need to add on. So as they did that,
That's
they said,
helpful.
yeah, I thought, well, thank goodness I brought this to the right, the right people. And we actually storyboarded for hours one day in a classroom. We just took the classroom, and I said, excuse me, but I'm going to draw a lot. I'm come from K-12 background, and I love the storyboarding. And I said, just hang on to your questions till I get all this drawn out. And as I did, I started drawing more. They started adding, and pretty soon we came up with kind of like a funnel where students get their technology CCL first. And this is any technology CCL. So they could get it in app design, web development, like we're piloting right now with you guys. They can get it in networking and cloud and programming. We even want to bring in business and other areas. Once they get that, then they go into what we call a capstone course, where they start actually researching a project for industry. And they could be facing industry at that time. But they also, the piece that was missing was that workforce skills piece. So as they do the capstone project, the next course they take is the Technopreneur mentorship, and that's where Green Flag comes in, and that's where the workforce skills and entrepreneurial and project management is integrated. Then we even want them to take an entrepreneurial intro course, and that's with Dan Piercy and the Green Flag, and then at the end we want to give them a paid internship. So we're thinking if they do that research in that capstone, now they're prepared to work better with industry, and they can get the project management, marketing. They're working with teams. What's so great is that Technopreneur course, the mentoring course, they work with the capstone students. So they're actually working together and getting those skills. That lower level class, they're already getting the workforce skills, and then the others are kind of, the leaders in that. And then they get the entrepreneurial side of it, and then we try to feed them into a paid internship, either paid by us or paid by the company that we can, introduce them into. And that's where you guys are amazing, because you're helping to bring industry to our students. And our students have already, expressed, we're so happy that we can actually work on an industry project before we try to apply for a job. because we have
sure.
something to talk to.
Right.
You know, projects in school are great and they're wonderful, and our instructors make them very industry based.
Sure.
But to actually say, I had to keep a calendar, I had to time management, I had to learn communication skills, all these things, they can actually talk to it in an interview, and it makes them so competitive.
That's very cool.
That was long, sorry.
No,
That's
no,
what we're here for.
good information. No, that's important.
So we've talked a lot about digital economy, about that kind of thing, and about producing these technopreneur students and keeping them right here locally. Talk a little bit about some of the things that you guys have done to do that. So some of the projects that you're working on.
Right, so we're working, our students are working on 3 projects right now. They're doing an app for a company here locally with you guys, and they're working on a crisis app, prevention app for the state of Arizona, we're hoping. Right now we'll start community level. And then they're also working on some web development for a company, the companies that you have provided. So,
That's awesome.
And as far as keeping local, what we're hoping happens when app development, when you create apps, you don't just create them and walk away, they have to be maintained.
Right.
So that's where we're really hoping that students that not only create these apps, or other people that might be interested in maintaining apps that are already created could come to our Green Flag Center, Entrepreneurial Center, and that could be their business.
That's cool.
They could actually say, okay, wow, the Technopreneur program under MITI-EV is, they're creating all kinds of apps for these companies, but who's going to maintain them?
Right.
Once these students leave, they're moving on to greener pastures. They got that job, or hopefully they're,
Right.
Getting employed. Maybe some of them would want to stay and do that. That would be great. But we would also invite in others that might be interested in maintaining what we're creating as well. And I think then that just embarks on, how do you start a business, right? And how do you start a business? That's where Green Flag comes in. That's where Mesa Chamber and your support come in, because that's not the IT side of it. That's the business entrepreneurial side. So the partnership that we have with Green Flag and our faculty that teach entrepreneur skills and business skills is very important.
Cool.
I would say that's very important. It's such a great partnership and opportunity for us, not just as the chamber, but for us to be able to include our members and get them engaged. I think it's
Well, and hopefully at
something very unique.
very low cost or no cost. I mean,
Right.
that's the thing. Our students need real world experiences, and your companies need things developed that are not at a high cost or free rate.
Right.
So that it just works out for everybody.
Right, that's great. Talk about the new digs that you guys have
Oh,
on our campus. Like, it's exciting to have you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you're
we're
going
kind
to
of
be
just taking this
our
over now.
neighbor.
This is now our campus.
okay.
I say ours as in ours, like us, Diane, the group, not
Sure.
the chamber alone.
Well,
No,
of
it's
course.
ours.
But we
own it.
we
So
are proud
the fourth
of,
floor, is
yes,
that what you're asking?
We are
Yes.
proud of this campus, and we're excited that it's going to continue to grow and have more activity here.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're excited as well. So, MITI-EV is more of a concept than a location, because we leverage our square footage, programs, all our assets for all 4 colleges. We can, whatever we create, we can host on the campuses, the college campuses, but we also want to have a home base, right? And our home base doesn't have to be huge, but we need to have it for events and for industry, because we want our industry partners to have a place to go. We want them to be able to come in and talk with us and tell us what they need, as well as students telling us what they need and what they're looking for, and get help. So we are excited that I'm going to say it was, I don't know, maybe it's about 30% of the 4th floor here at this building we were able to remodel
That's
with our
exciting.
Prop 301 money that we
Yeah.
received from the district. So we thank them very much for that. And we expanded from 3 classrooms that we had on the 2nd floor to 4 classrooms, but we have some really nice state-of-the-art technology in those classrooms. We have a computer lab, we have a large conference room, a tutoring room, a soft skills space for students for
Wow.
collaboration, which we need with these types of
Right.
programs, right? If you want the students to be innovative, they can't be working in silos. They need to have those
Sure.
places to create. We have a lot of offices because as soon as we start bringing faculty in, they need to have a place to go as well and work with, talk with students.
Sure.
And then we're excited that we'll have the reception area there. We'll be able to have our staff come in and help not just our students, but fire science and EMT are on the 4th floor. And we want to pool these resources together to help all the students that will be coming into the 4th floor. So it's just the sharing of resources, which just makes sense financially.
It's great collaboration.
And we invite people to come out and check it out.
Well, will you have an open house at some point?
We will. We're
we
hoping.
have big scissors, right?
Yo, do you have the big scissors?
Of
Okay, because I
course.
don't. I only have little scissors. Okay, that's
I know,
great.
we have big scissors.
You got the ribbon cutting gear.
Yes.
Okay.
We're all
It is kind of our thing.
Oh, I know it is. Yeah. Obviously, you guys have the supplies on that. So,
Yes.
no, we definitely will be having we don't have a date set for that yet,
Okay.
but we will be having, a kickoff, and we're hoping to have a very large Girls Get IT event in the
Oh,
fall
cool.
there as well.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
So yeah, we'll definitely we'll have to come back and have a podcast again when we have our date.
Yeah, we will.
But definitely we want to really make it a big party. We want to invite everybody in because we also want people to know, what we can do for them. I think sometimes people just don't know the resources that are there.
Right.
So they're like, oh, you can provide that for us? Oh, we didn't realize that. So hopefully we get a lot of people in, industry, students, all 4 of the colleges, faculty, hopefully can all come to a kickoff.
That's great.
So, Diane, where do you see this program 5 years from now? Like, what are your visions when you look out?
Oh, do
you
I
see-
have vision, Bob?
I know.
We know you do, so share it with everybody.
It's probably a little crazy. I see this. Oh, it gives me chills when I say it because I just hope it happens. I see this as a regional training hub where industry literally seeks us out for candidates for IT. Students seek us out for real world on the job training and paid internships. And industry and corporations want to get behind because we are targeting underserved populations. We are changing the way STEM works. And we are bringing in all IT sectors. Boom. What do you think of that?
Mic drop. Except it's already attached to a boom. So,
Listen, those are great goals, and you've got a whole community behind you, so why wouldn't it happen?
I don't know why it
And the
wouldn't happen.
need's
I think
there,
it should
right?
happen, right?
Yeah.
The need's there. I think it's just a matter of coordinating a lot of effort, right? And that's what I hope to do. That's what our team, our MITI team, and I have to give a shout out to Helen Bland, who's our administrative specialist senior, and Helen and I, and Amanda Semrad, who is our part-time student service specialist. We're the team, but we are lucky that the East Valley presidents assigned some people from the colleges to create an advisory board.
Oh, that's great.
And our advisory board is so talented. And the reason I say that is because when I say talent, you need talent from all different, everyone has to look at an initiative through their lens.
Sure.
And so we have IT people from the colleges, all 4 colleges. We have administration, we have staff, and we have faculty that all make up that board. So when a partner comes to us or we get this great idea, immediately it goes to we call it the MITI monthly meeting. How's that for an alliteration? So at the MITI monthly meeting, we say, hey, guess what? This is what we're thinking about. How should we do this? And when you have an advisory that has lived those things or been through them or has that, I mean, if you added up all the experience of our 15-person advisory,
Oh gosh, 15.
people,
Wow.
you would say, we're going to go well over 100. We're going to go into, 100 years of experience because it's just, they've done it all. And if not, but they're also very, they have that innovative mindset. They're not where, well, we did that and it didn't work. They're like, well, we did, it didn't work, but now how could we make it work? So I can't thank the presidents enough for helping to put that board together. And I can't thank our board enough for being so willing to, because this is above and beyond what they do. This is outside, a lot of the scope of work of what they do. And they see the need. And so I believe there's buy-in and passion, and you got to have that to try to pull off a regional training.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
would think.
Yeah. Well, good for you. for being able to pull everybody together.
Well, it's a work in progress, and we're still developing the model. We don't have the model set, but we pilot a lot of things and we learn from them, and we try to have debriefings after each of our pilots, which we will do with working with you. We'll say, okay, come on in, folks, how did this work? And we did this with our small business courses, right, Bob? So it was like, hey, what worked, what didn't? And now we've made those changes. On the next, we'll do it again, because we're never going to arrive to the perfect model, because things change, needs change. So we got to keep that going.
That's great.
So we probably should have talked about this at the beginning, but what about your background? Like, what brought you?
Yeah, how did I
let's
end
talk
up
about
here?
Diane.
I'm so excited I ended up here. Well, interesting story. I started off, well, I'm not going to date myself. I won't say the date. I started off as a third grade teacher for Mesa Public Schools and just loved it. And I taught there for 9 years. I ended up working. Then I became the technology, I was a computer teacher for private school because they had no program. And so I had done with Mesa Public Schools, I had done some computer training way back when, and my dad was a systems analyst, and I just, computers for me kind of,
in your blood.
they kind of came easy. I enjoyed it, so,
What school were you at?
I was at Booker T. Washington Elementary School.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was there for 9 years. I student taught there and got hired there, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. I taught 3rd and 5th, and so anyway, I went to and I remained in the private sector for 20 years. But with the private sector, there's not a lot of money, so you either train yourself or you bring people in to help you. And I was a computer teacher, loved it, K-8, taught kindergarten all the way to 8th grade, loved it, loved the team that I worked with there. But I became the actual technology coordinator because there was no one for that for the school K-8. So I self-taught a lot. I had to go to either trainings on my own dime or just brought in parent volunteers that did these trainings, and they would train me, or I did tutorials. So I was pretty well self-taught. I ended up buying a A+ CompTIA A+ DVD set, and I went through all that on my own. I never did get the certification because I said, I don't need it. I can fix the things I need to fix on campus now. I regret that, so students, don't do that. Take the certification. Don't do it.
Complete the work.
Because now it's too late for me to go back. I'd have to learn all new stuff. But I all of a sudden I was maintaining 7 servers, a network, a VPN. I was doing thin clients because.
So before you go, we've got a checklist of stuff. If you could take care of it for us.
And just each time I would bring in, I had some amazing students that wanted to work in this, and we would research together. And then it was funny, after that, they said, Diane, this was years later, they said, Diane, we have enough money to send you to a training. And I thought,
to a
training. And I was like, great. And I will tell you, when you finally go to that training, you know what questions to ask after you've tried to self-teach yourself all the time. And I thought, this isn't the way I'd recommend for students, but there was a plus to it, because I said, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to ask you now, and I did. And so anyway, I was self-taught there. I ended up becoming a vice principal for the school and a technology coordinator and a curriculum director at the same time. Like I said, private school, you wear many hats, and then I became an interim principal, and then I actually left and went to the charter system and became the principal of a school. And I was missing IT a lot. I really was, believe it or not. Even the complaints, even people coming to me telling me this doesn't work and fix it. Somehow I learned how to handle it. At first it was tough, but I just use a sense of humor and try to have a 24-hour turnaround.
Is it plugged in?
So I missed IT, and then when I saw this come up, I thought, oh, and I believe it or not, 20 years of me being even in elementary, I developed so many relationships with IT workforce.
Sure.
Because we were buying things and bringing companies in and trying to get the best deal and everything for our school. I had a lot of partners when all of a sudden I realized that I could actually be in a position where I could help underserved populations get into IT. And that's not the only role that I have, obviously. I was very passionate about that because years ago I'd wanted to actually open up a charter school in Spanish. I really wanted to do that. And this is why I was going out getting all this experience in private, public, and charter, because I thought, I'm going to open up a charter school in Spanish. where students learn in Spanish and then they take English, on the side. And there's laws in the state and things like that you would have to work through on that. But and it would have been a challenge, and I never got to do that. And it's one of those things where you just sit there and go, there was that bucket list or that dream. And then I thought, wait a minute, if I get into this, I can help people get jobs. I can help people get training. I can help people. I can try to be part of this paradigm shift with women in IT. And then it lit me up, and I applied for the job. I didn't think I was going to get.
So how long have you been there?
I've been there since April of 2019. So
You're a newbie.
I'm a newbie.
Yeah, you're
She's
new.
just a pup now.
Yeah.
Although Maricopa says I can't keep claiming that I'm a newbie, but there's a lot of processes to learn.
You are.
I'm still claiming it as a newbie. I'm like, wait, there's too many processes to learn in 2 years. I need more time. But
Yeah.
so yes, you asked me my story. Sorry, it's long because I've been in education for a
No,
long
What
time.
she's saying is she gets around.
Well, yeah. Go die.
And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And so now I'm here
Well, we're
working with
glad
you
you're
wonderful
here now.
people. And
We're really glad to be.
we're going to
working
change
with
the
you.
world. That's what Bob
That's
said.
what we're gonna do. We're gonna
Bob
change
said when
world.
I sat
The world
down.
belongs to those who show up, and here we are, right? Yeah.
You got this.
Yeah.
Well, it was just funny, and I'm going to throw a shout out to Bob here because as I was meeting with the faculty to try to get these 3 buckets, with the Technopreneur program, I had not met Bob. And we came in and Bob said, Diane, guess what? We have this idea. We have this idea for our industry. And he started drawing on the whiteboard, literally what
Yes, you
was
have that in common.
what I was drawing on not exactly the same,
Yeah.
but I started looking at this and because we had some areas where we're like, well, how are we gonna make this sustainable? How are we gonna maintain these things? How are we gonna fund this? Because we had the plans for the courses, but to make a Bob's term digital economy, you got to have those other pieces in there. Well, so we're like, well, okay, let's just crawl and then we'll walk and then we'll run. But at least we got this part. Let's get it going. I think it was 2 weeks later. Bob and I are sitting here in Mesa Chamber, and he starts drawing this. He goes, I have an idea. And I mean, I almost started crying. I got goosebumps, and I called Dr. Deb Laverne immediately. I said, we got to get in here. These are the missing pieces. These are the missing pieces. And sure enough, they came in. We had our meeting, and we're rolling. So it just shows it's got to be a team.
That's the value of partnerships, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Everybody works together.
Because we wouldn't have been able to put those
We're
pieces
stronger
in
together.
ourselves. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I have to say that. Bob, don't you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I was I was just sitting there. I couldn't even
I
talk.
love whiteboards.
Yeah, I still have the pictures of your whiteboard drawing. They're still on my phone.
To a point where it's a little creepy how much he loves whiteboards.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just never hand him a dry erase marker if you really don't have
He
time.
used multiple colors too. I was impressed.
There you go.
Visual learner.
I'm out of questions.
Okay.
I mean, I could ask more questions,
Listen,
but none of them would be relevant.
I think we have part 2 coming up when there's
Yeah, we do.
the next phase of what's going on, and you come
Right.
back and we talk about that, talk about your opening, and
Talk about getting some cool signs around here,
Yes.
right?
Yes, Diane. Now you're talking my language.
I knew Sally would like that.
Yes,
If we could
'cause-
explore some signage.
Yes, we need to be discussing that. Yeah. Well, thanks for taking time. I know that you're
gosh, this
so
is-
busy, and you're pulled in many directions, so we appreciate you
Well,
coming in.
as are you, and I just appreciate you having me here. I will say, this is my first official podcast.
Well, it
I
won't
hope
be
I did
your
okay.
last.
Oh, we
Thanks.
were her first.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Take
Yeah,
care.
we'll make it a regular occurrence.
Okay.
All
And I'll
right.
get better.
Better than what? You're great.
Thank you.
This has been a Mesa Chamber of Commerce Inside Business podcast. You can find all podcast episodes at iTunes, Spotify, or your own favorite podcast website. You can also find them online at mesachamber.org. Content of this podcast is copyright the Mesa Chamber of Commerce, unless otherwise noted.